Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime A Wild Last Boss appeared, which had 12 episodes and was airing in autumn of 2025. Synopsis from AniList. An MMO gamer awakens as the black-winged tyrant Lufas Mafal, rising from her sealed fate, only to find this is very real. Her defeat 200 years ago unleashed monsters of death, and the legend is one of terror. Now trapped in the body of history's most feared conqueror, he must survive a world that wants her dead and uncover why he is here. So, in this story, our main character gets transported into this MMO as the character Lufas Mafal. Now, background story wise, our main character played the MMO, made the character Lufas Mafal, this is his character, and played in this MMO. This MMO, the idea is just level, get together with other people, and the end goal was defeat the Demon King. There were two special, elements about this MMO. One of them, you were able to make your own kingdom and then take over more land, fight against other player kingdoms. And the second was that whatever the people did, the players, would be canonized into the game, would be part of the game world in its story. Now, our main character made his character Lufas Mafal, which you do see in the picture. And he, got 12 NPCs that he named after the astrology signs, Capricorn, Cancer, and what else. And he took over most of the world with his player kingdom. And after he did that, he, got together with the other top players in the game, and he was like, okay, let's do a big event. I'm going to be the big bad. I'm going to be like the mid boss before you fight the Demon King, and you get together and fight me. We make it a big event, live stream it, people are gonna love it. And they did exactly that. They went together, we had the heroes and you had Lufas Mafal. They went toe to toe, back and forth. Lufas Mafal held her own. A big fight, very well animated, which ended in Lufas Mafal being sealed away. We see him checking the messages online, people love it, they're excited, a big event, and story would then follow that all these heroes come together and then fight the Demon King. However, we get a message from the goddess, or our main character, and it's like, hey, I need your help. He accepts and then gets transported into the world he played as his character Lufas Mafal 200 years later. Now, this information is very important, all of this, because we find out after these 200 years getting reincarnated that the heroes lost. The heroes lost against the Demon King, even though the Demon King at the time of the game was seen as a bit weaker than Lufas Mafal herself, which then is a little bit weird that they lost, okay. And demons took over like 90% of the world. They took a lot of the world over. So our main character, after getting introduced to more or less the right hand of Lufas Mafal, his goal is now, okay, I'm going to search for the heroes that are still alive, because 200 years went by, and see if they are players. Are they in the same situation as me? And I'm going to, see if I can find my 12 subordinates and write them in again, because they went a little bit haywire after Lufas Mafal got defeated. They all wanted to take, revenge, understandably, for her master, or their master. So that is the idea. And we get introduced to some information that is a little bit different than our main character has, which is a very interesting idea, because it feels like it should be our main character against the Demon King, the big bad. However, even though the heroes got defeated, the max level of our character, or of the game he played, was 1000, seemingly. By the max level that is around now is like 300. So even though everyone seems weaker, why did the Demon King, who was as strong as Lufus Mafal supposedly, not take over the whole world? What really stopped him from taking over everything? That is already one of the big questions that is, hanging around. Then what exactly happened between the time we got sealed and now? Because we get, introduced to the NPCs that are the aides of Lufus Mafal, and everyone has some very peculiar stories. They all seem to be... People seem to take advantage of their, of their hate, of their anger, and they try to direct it. We don't really know who exactly is behind it, but it feels like that we have Lufus Mafal, our main character, we have the Demon King, and we have a third party that seemingly is antagonistic against both of them. It feels very much like that. Additionally, why we follow Lufus Mafal, or our main character, and his story, we get introduced to some background story about Lufus Mafal that our main character does not know either. So there's additional story about our Blackwing Tyrant that is not known by the MC himself, which is very weird, because at this point we are like, okay, this is a game world we got reincarnated to, but now we have information that the game world never had, and it is very peculiar. A lot of, there's a lot of different things. We get introduced to characters and some of their motivation. It seems like, okay, some characters are like, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Can't really tell you too much about that, but and it is a very interesting show, especially because, it could have just been an OP character, cleans up the world, but there seems to be some more stuff going on. I like the, the characters that we get introduced to. Very nice. We play on some of these tropes, which is very cool to see. The fights are very well animated. The show looks really nice. I really like the show. It is, it is very refreshing to see a show that, takes the formula and could have gone the, the simple route. But they were like, let's take a little bit of a right turn here, left turn here. And it is very interesting. It was very interesting to look at. A very interesting show. Ratings, AnyList has it at 74%. My enemy list at 7.5. I would say, for me, it is a very strong 8 out of 10. It is very interesting. There seemed to be more going on than we got to believe. We still have our OP character, but something is weird, and I like that. I like that, there's something else going on. Now, I do want to talk about a little bit about a character. Now, this is going to be spoiler, so you have been warned. We get introduced very early on to, whose name I totally forgot, Dina, which right from the beginning, very weird, because she feels a little bit like Aqua from Konosuba. And we, our suspicions got more or less, you know, shown to be true. That she seems to be a spy for the Demon King, and it is very weird because we find out she's like a spy and she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be on your side, and then we see her still going to the Demon King and she's going to the Demon King, I'm on your side as well. And it's like, are you on either side, really? There's some suspicions that maybe she could be in cahoots with the goddess. I assume there's like the third party, the goddess, for some reason. Maybe only Dina herself. She has information that she should not have, as example. And it's very weird. Also, very later on, we get introduced to the concept that Lufus Mafar is not at her full power, which is very interesting, but we get the confirmation that the Demon King is at his full power, or seemingly, but at least is stronger than Lufus Mafar at the moment. He should have been able to take over the whole country, the whole world, but he is not willing to because this would go according to the plan of the goddess, he is telling us. Which is very interesting. It is very interesting. There's something going on. It also seems like that the Demon King is not really against Lufus Mafar. You know, I find this is really interesting. We also find out that all our aides or subordinates got like manipulated by people. It seems like some of them got manipulated by Dina, maybe some got manipulated by someone else. Dina is like shown as, you know, she's very willing to sacrifice anyone to get to, you know, her goal, which I like. And it is very interesting, very well done. Definitely recommended as a show to watch.